Based on the best-selling memoir by real-life Piper Kerman entitled Orange is the New Black: My Year in a Women's Prison, comes the TV series Orange is the New Black, the brand new smash hit black comedy from Netflix.
Think of all the roads, think of all their crossings. Taking steps is easy, standing still is hard.
The story follows the life of Piper Chapman, a wealthy yuppie with her whole life figured out. She has a loving fiancé in Larry, played by Jason Biggs of American Pie fame, and even a burgeoning soap business on the rise with the help of her best friend. Too bad she just got herself indicted for transporting drug money 10 years back and will now have to surrender herself to serve time in Lynchwood Ladies Penitentiary.
Look at you, Blondie. What'd you do?
Aren't you not supposed to ask that question? I read that you're not supposed to ask that.
You read that? What, you studied for prison?
Now, with a pitch like that, at first you might think that this show is Oz, but just with women. However, it quickly becomes clear Orange has much more going on for it, namely being a wildly dark and hilarious situational comedy, with Piper finding herself getting into all kinds of crazy situations as she attempts to serve her sentence. Why, in the first episode alone, she finds herself starved out because she accidentally insulted the cooking of the head prison chef, or when she accidentally gets too friendly with a mentally unstable inmate who decides that the two are now a couple and pursues her to no end. And then, of course, there is the matter of her ex, the whole reason that Piper landed herself in jail. But make no mistake, Piper's story and her survival in prison is just one cog in a much bigger machine. What really makes Orange is the New Black work as a series is the vast and endlessly interesting group of three-dimensional characters that make up the show. Standouts for me included Red, played by the great Kate Mulgrew, the wife of a Russian mobster who runs the prison kitchen with an iron fist. Yoga Jones, played by Constance Shulman. Yes, all you Nickelodeon kids out there, that is indeed the voice of Patty Mayonnaise, playing Yoga Jones, a yoga teacher with a dark past, and Sister Ingle, a nun serving time for protesting, who, surprisingly as it happens, is actually based on a real person, I found out. Well, okay, everyone in the show is based on a real person, technically, but the nun character is realer than real, but that would be a whole nother video to explain that, so go check that out. To accommodate all these great characters, the show employs a very Lost-like type of storytelling, with every episode focusing on one inmate as we're given flashbacks to their life and how they ended up in prison. More often than not, episodes come packing a certain type of theme or lesson with them without ever becoming too preachy. Orange is the New Black, also to its great benefit, just so happens to be one of the most self-aware shows I've ever seen, making references to other popular shows like Mad Men, and of course the other big prison show, Oz. You really feel like when you watch this show, you're watching real people in a real world. Now, being a show about prison, the writers take the chance every so often to, take a little swipe at the American prison industry and how broken it is, or how easy it is for people to re-offend. We mostly see this through the eyes of the guards and counselors, who are given almost as much screen time as the prisoners themselves. As you might gather from this being a show with an almost entirely woman cast, and written predominantly by lady writers, this means we get some truly amazing scenes and interactions that you really can't find anywhere else on TV. The scene that made me fall in love with the show and its brilliance was where a bunch of lady inmates sit around talking about their vaginas. In the same kind of comedic tone we've heard dudes talk about their junk in other movies and TV shows. It was a simple little comedic scene, but to me it was really something of a revelation. I also couldn't help but be struck by the thematic nature of Orange is the New Black. Episodes dealing with motherhood, family, love, sex, gender, relationships, and, no surprise, being a prisoner. No, I just don't mean that in the literal sense. Yes, all the inmates are prisoners, but I'm talking about in more of a metaphysical sense as we explore more of the ladies of Lynchwood and see that a lot of them were prisoners long before they ever went to jail. And while other prison shows like Oz reveled in just how much it could make you relate and sympathize with a character 1 minute, only to be shocked and disgusted by their behavior the next minute, Orange goes the other way completely, offering some truly sweet and sentimental moments that you would not be expecting in a show like this. Oh sure, the inmates are mean to each other and they screw each other over, and yet again there's this strange theme of family and motherhood that radiates through the whole show. It's very interesting.
Might not look like it, but there's the rules in this place. The most important of which is The second you're perceived as weak, you already are.
That's also not to say there's not violence. There is, especially in the second season. But as one of the counselors says very early on in the show, the way men fight and the way women fight are very different. In summation, I'm really not sure what else I can say about this show besides it really has something special to offer to everyone. And because it's Netflix, you can now marathon both seasons to your heart's content right now as soon as this video's over. And you know what, if I haven't baited the hook enough and haven't sold you on the show, hey, it is a show about women's prison, so you can expect a ton of lesbian sex, you know, real hardcore lesbian sex. So if you think that's something you might like, then you should definitely check this show out. So, until next time, I've looked at all their faces, I've listened to their voices, and now I'm really happy to be a part of their party.
On the day